Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Indeed.
Yo.
It's another week, it's another Saturday, and once again we have nothing better to do but to hang out on Skype and talk about roads.
Roads!
Signs!
Coach.
Rocks!
Cosines.
Tangents!
Yeah, we're going off on one.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
Never does.
Alright, good evening, everyone. Happy Saturday, May 16th. How is everybody in the live chat tonight?
Pretty good.
Oh.
I'm doing.
I'm here.
We're all here. Realize.
Okay.
Yep.
Just had to make sure that the internet connection was working just fine, but I think we're okay.
It
Yeah.
seems to be good.
I can see the video, so that's a start.
Hey, that's encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Indeed.
Alright, well, guys, welcome in. It's another Saturday and another amazing road-related presentation for you this week. We're going to do another virtual tour double header tonight. So we're going to start with the ring road around Phoenix, and then we'll pause for an intermission of about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll come back and we will traverse the length of the infamous 405 in Los Angeles. Welcome to tonight's program. I am Roadway Wiz, as you know. Let's meet our panel on Skype. We have a packed house on Skype tonight. Wow. We have Tom from California.
Yep.
We've got Doug from Albany, New York.
Hello.
It's amazing. We got 2/3 of the Gribble Nation mainstays with us.
Yeah.
How about that? Who else we got? We got Scott in Wisconsin,
Hello there.
breaking all sorts of quarantine rules. And
What quarantine rules?
Tisk
Yeah.
tisk.
What rules?
They got thrown out last Wednesday.
Yeah. And we got Josh from Albany.
Yo.
So we've got a packed house of amazing and brilliant and knowledgeable road enthusiasts, and we have Josh with us as well.
Wah, 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 wah.
So, with that
Last
said,
track.
we love Josh. We're allowed to do that. Alright, so we're going to be taking you through two major freeways of interest in the southwest U.S. These were highways that, of course, I documented in February. And over the course of the evening and, of course, over the course of the ride, we'll be able to take your comments and questions about things that you're seeing along the way, and we'll provide some of our insights as well as to the history and features of these highways as we go throughout the night. All right, so we're going to lead off, of course, with the ring road around Phoenix. Now, the thing that I have to preface this with is that there is no highway in Phoenix that is known as the Phoenix Beltway. As you'll see in a few minutes when I show you the map, the Phoenix Beltway is a term that I am using for the purposes of this program to identify a circular route around central Phoenix that comprises sections of the three highways you see pictured here. In fact, it features the entirety of Loop 101, a considerable distance of Loop 202, and a few miles of I-10 thrown in there as well to complete the circle. because I know there's some controversy going around about, well, there's no such thing as a Phoenix Beltway. Well, yeah, I know there's nothing that's actually called that, but if you look at it on a map, it looks like a beltway to me, so that's what we're going to call it.
The
Right.
factor is right.
Yes.
Fudge.
All right,
Somebody
announcements.
Somebody might say the same thing about Minneapolis. There's no Beltway.
Yeah. Announcements. Where are we on YouTube uploads? We are in El Paso, Texas this week and next week. That'll take us through Memorial Day weekend. At that point, we will actually go on pause with the Southwest U.S. YouTube uploads, and we will transition back into the New York metropolitan area for a COVID-19 special series that I think you guys heard about. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago? It might have been 2 weeks ago that I mentioned that we were going to do that. But anyway, it's going to be an extensive look at the highways and main local streets of Manhattan during the COVID-19 shutdown. So you're going to see a lot of footage of both roads that I've covered in the past and also roads that are brand new to the channel. And the one thing that you'll notice that's in common across all the videos is that there aren't a lot of people around. So that'll be an interesting take on a city that I've known very well over the years, but I found ways to be surprised on many occasions with what I was seeing. And I'm sure you guys will be surprised as well. So that series will get started on Memorial Day, and that will run through the month of June and probably through about the first half of July. Now, again, here's our little cheat sheet. From day one, we decided that we were going to do about 2 months of live programming every Saturday through this lockdown period. And we started on March the 21st with our first production. And what do you know? We've made it all the way to the end of the sheet tonight, down here at the very end. This is the end of the sequence that we planned out 2 months ago. And I am very proud of the fact that I was able to get all these productions to actually get off the ground and make them work. And I'm just really grateful to have the help that I've had in producing them with the guys on Skype and with you guys in the live chat. It's really made this process quite easy, in fact. So a big thank you to everyone who has contributed to this point, whether you were calling in on Skype or just hanging out in the live chat. It's been great having your company all this time. So thank you very much.
Yay!
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So, and we will have a couple of productions coming up that are not on this sheet because I have decided to extend the series a little bit, but we'll get into that coming up here in a couple of slides. Alright, so when I was talking about a ring road around Phoenix, this is what I'm talking about. So we're going to start here in the west of Phoenix. Central Phoenix is right here, right? So we're going to start west of town. We're going to run clockwise around Loop 101, which comes to an end down here in Chandler, and then we make a right turn onto 202, head west, including the new South Mountain Freeway, which is right here, and then we will reconnect with the point where we started about 93 miles later. Now, of course, again, this is not, it's not officially the Phoenix Beltway, but guys, it looks like a beltway, doesn't it? So.
Sure looks like one of them.
All right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to call it, and that's how we're going to roll with this first half of the program tonight. Anybody have any questions before we start? You can see that we added a feature for next Saturday, of Memorial Day weekend. We'll be taking a look at US 163 across the deserts of Arizona and Utah. So that's
Run, Forrest, run!
No relation to US 63.
No, and that's one of many things I'm sure we'll discuss next
You,
Saturday.
yes.
Yep. Nor any connection with New York Route 163, which is near Fort Plain in Montgomery County.
Boo. Alright. As you can see, Mr. Angry has made his weekly appearance. He's becoming quite a mainstay on our features now.
Mr. Angry is quite angry.
No.
Yeah, he still keeps angry. That's consistent.
Alright, well, if nobody's got anything, then we can get going here. This is about 92 miles, and we covered it in 1 hour and 10 minutes. It'll include, as I said, the entirety of Loop 101, so you can get a virtual clinch of Loop 101 if you haven't actually clinched it in real life. But we're ready to roll, so welcome into the Phoenix Beltway. Let's go. And we start off on 10 westbound as we approach the Loop 101 interchange. We're about, what are we about? Not quite 10 miles west of downtown at this point.
No respect for the other desert cities in Arizona.
Tisk tisk.
Well, isn't everything in Arizona a desert city?
No,
Flagstaff.
Flagstaff isn't.
Flagstaff's more mountains / semi-arid.
And also, Flagstaff's not on I-10.
True.
That is true. But you could list Flagstaff and other tundra cities.
That one's fire during the summer. Always forest fires up there.
Ooh, yes.
Really? Is that wildfire country up that way?
Ooh, yes.
Oh yeah, it is. There was one called the Wallow Fire when I lived up there. It was about the size of I think the state of Rhode Island at one point.
Wow.
Oof. What do they call it? The Wall of Fire?
Wallow Fire.
Oh. Sounds like Wall of Fire.
Well, it probably was that too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Holy moly, great balls of fire.
That's good and it's great. It's great balls of fire.
It's like
Oh, it is? Shit.
it was like an atom bomb every morning would roll into the city of Show Low. I was actually having to go up there to see if we would have to evacuate a work site, and it never got that close, but it was something to see.
Acoma in 2018, I saw a few forest fires up close on I-70 in Colorado, and it was interesting, I will say.
You know what the thing is, like in my part of the world here in the Hudson Valley, a brush fire makes the front page of the news.
Yes, and we've had a few of those recently too.
I think there was one in Harriman like a couple days ago.
Yep, there was.
Yeah?
Yeah, one down by Breakneck not long ago either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like everyone lost their minds with that one. Because like, this isn't fire country. We're not supposed to have forest fires here.
Happens every year.
Well, I know that in New York they do have a burn ban basically from like the middle of March through actually expired a couple days ago.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Time to light fires.
Yeah.
Fire, make it higher.
Just wait for the windiest day of the month.
Yeah.
But
So we're coming up on the State Farm Stadium some point here, right?
Yes.
And the Gila River Arena.
Whatever that means.
It's where the
is that what they
Coyotes
call them now?
Yeah, the Gila River Arena.
Yep.
But if you go to a Coyotes game, they use the parking, basically that you would, basically use if you were going to a Cardinals game.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember going to...
They're like right across the street from each other.
Yeah, you can see it on the right there.
There we go, yep.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like, I guess the football stadium is supposed to look like a giant barrel cactus. I personally don't see it.
No, it's like
a epic fail right there.
Yeah, I'm thinking it looks more like a... Ooh. Eel of cheese.
I think it just looks like a dome stadium.
It looks like a toaster.
Yeah.
Better than Sun Devil Stadium. That was awful, watching football games there, sitting like 110 degrees in those aluminum bleachers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Boy,
I actually flew out to see a game at, I think at the time it was jobbing.com arena. Because in 2010 when I went to we'll go to an Islanders Coyotes game, I was, basically like, well, they're gonna, I was thinking at the time that the Coyotes were gonna be moving, back to Winnipeg, but it wound up where they, the Winnipeg group, they bought the team out of Atlanta instead, Thrashers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's how I was able to get a bunch of Thrashers jerseys on clearance.
Didn't Coyotes go bankrupt, if I remember right?
Yeah, they were owned.
Yeah,
the NHL had to take them over for a period of time. Yeah.
We used to get cheap tickets to the Red Wings games whenever they would come out there, and we would go to the game, and it'd be like 90% Red Wings fans. There's like hardly any hockey fans in Arizona, besides local hockey fans.
There was a fair number of Islander fans when I went to the game. Actually, Islanders fans, we are so spread out now because no one wants to live in Long Island. So.
Yeah, that was kind of how it was with Michigan too. And I think Dan, you hit on this in one of the other videos. Just the amount of people in the Phoenix area from other states is pretty interesting. You don't really see that in any other state I've lived in. It was easy to find.
North Carolina has a lot of that, but yeah.
Yeah, Arizona is really a melding pot of every corner of the country. It's really interesting. And so, of course, you would find things from every corner of the country right here in one metropolitan area.
I think there's Ted's Hot Dogs out of Buffalo. I think they have a location in Tempe.
They do?
They do, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but Ted's Hot Dogs, Culver's,
I think there's Zaxby's.
Zaxby's is there.
Yeah.
I want to say at one time Mighty Taco had a location in Arizona, but I'm probably wrong.
I want to say they did at one point and it closed.
There are Portillo's in Arizona.
Yes.
Only 3. Avondale, wherever that is, Scottsdale, and Tempe.
Yeah, all the big chains, like all the local chains up by us in the Hudson Valley of New York, they have all their locations in the tri-state, and then you look on their website, and they've got a location in South Florida, and they've got a location in the Phoenix area.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Duff's, the wing restaurant, they have a location in the Dallas, Texas area.
They also have a location in Atlanta now, too.
Yeah, I was looking through the Portillo's locations. There's also a couple in California.
Yep.
2 in Florida that I know of.
Yep.
Happened to stumble across those in 18.
2 US 93 is new.
Yeah. And Indiana, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, of course, State.
Yeah. Well, I know that Florida's another state where you'll find basically like restaurant chains from pretty much every corner of the country because everyone lives there too.
Wawa is in Florida.
Yeah.
Cumbies is in Florida.
Yep.
They have a few Culvers down there.
Yep.
And of course, Waffle House is kind of a dime a dozen down there.
Yeah.
That's also in Arizona.
Yeah. I had breakfast at a Waffle House in Glendale one day. So that's one more Waffle House I can check off the list. I only got another 1,700 to go, or however many there are. But
I'm not trying to clinch Waffle House.
He'll eventually eat all of them. Eventually,
yeah. Clinching Waffle Houses, geez, that sounds like my thing to do.
especially if an exit has two of them.
Yeah.
Which I have seen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. I have clinched all the Waffle Houses in Delaware. I'm quite proud of that.
How many are there?
One, right?
Middletown, Smyrna, and Dover.
Oh, that's actually
There's more than one.
More than expected.
Yeah, no, there's three of them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see, did I clinch all the Waffle Houses in... I may have clinched all the Waffle Houses in Pennsylvania. I'm double checking on that right now.
This is funny. We're talking about clinching Waffle Houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, we better get back on subject, guys.
Yeah, there's a road video going right now, but we're talking about clinching Waffle Houses.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
Something I was looking at when you're coming up on the junction with Grand and US 60. It looks like there's a new 2 US 93 sign, or at least I don't remember that one being there previously.
Yeah, because 93 doesn't start for a while. You got to go out on 60 quite a bit.
Yeah, it's,
you got to go all the way
or something like that. Yeah.
But I would think that that's one of the main routes to Vegas from the Phoenix area is to go out 60 to Wickenburg and then north on 93.
Yeah, because doesn't 60 do a kind of like a northwest diagonal?
Yeah, it's a diagonal because when they built US 60, it was built to, or not US 60 specifically, but Grand Avenue. It was built to be a direct run to the mines up in Wickenburg, specifically the Vulture Mine.
And then it came back down towards 10.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that hooked up with an older wagon route that met up with the Bradshaw Trail to Colorado River. Then I think it was 31 or 32, California added their state highway to Blythe. I think it was early 30s, maybe 30, 31, that Arizona 74 was added to the state line. And I think the bridge was built in 1931. US 60 was there the next year, if I remember right.
So what you guys have seen to this point, and this is going to be a theme throughout the rest of this video, is very, very straightforward, dare I say bland at times, suburban freeway.
Yes.
101's default traffic setup is you have 3 general lanes per direction, and on the far left we have an HOV lane, which is open to HOV only during peak hours. At the time of the filming of this I don't even know when the hell this was filmed, but let's just say it's off-peak for the purposes of this, so it would be open to all vehicles. As you've noticed at the start of this, I've had to do a little bit of stitching together of files in order to make this work. Because magically we went from mid-afternoon to early morning back to mid-afternoon. But filming 101 was a bit of a pain in the ass. But I think it came out all right.
Yeah, you had to drive this section every year for like a 5-year period. It is just monotonous.
Yeah, so many of the freeways in Phoenix are like this. Like they have the same setup. There's this one. A lot of 202 looks like this. A lot of 60.
Yeah, 202 east of Mesa, or east of Tempe isn't too bad. The Red Mountain Freeway, I think it's called. No.
Yeah, I do like that stretch through Tempe,
That is scenic. That's just, I like how they got the facade really nice through there. 51, they really did that one real nice. It didn't used to look that good, but coming through downtown, they really upgraded the aesthetics. It used to be very bland and industrial kind of looking from when it was originally built.
Yeah.
The only time I was able to get on 51, it happened to be during the night, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's got a pretty view coming through there through Piestewa Peak. It's just a nice little gap through the Phoenix Mountains.
You got a cable-stay pedestrian bridge here.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
The Matilda Cuomo Bridge.
There is no Matilda Cuomo Bridge. Capiche?
Next time I get out to Phoenix, I do want to hike up that peak.
It's
Peak.
I used to run it every week. It was like about a mile from my house. It was awesome view of the freeway.
Cool.
Excuse me.
Yeah, so another thing to notice is that because Loop 101 is mostly a beltway, it does form basically 3/4 of a loop. We have changed our cardinal direction for the first time. We started out on 101 heading north, and then we made a 90-degree turn a few miles back, so now we're heading more or less due east across the north side of the metro. And in about, where are we, exit 22? Yeah, so like in about 15 miles or so, we'll turn back again to head south. So the cardinal direction tabs on 101 do change depending on where you are on the freeway. So now you're seeing east-west signs, whereas before you were seeing north-south signs. Arizona doesn't like to do inner loop, outer loop. So you won't see that. You'll just see north, south, east, west, depending on where you are.
There are interstate beltways that do that. What is it? The Capital Beltway does the north, south, east, west?
Well, they can get away with it because there's a distinct north-south and a distinct east-west segment per state.
Yeah, Columbus, Ohio is north, south, east, west.
Yeah, Columbus is annoying. Baltimore does exclusively inner loop, outer loop.
Yeah, that's in our
Charlotte does the same thing.
Yes.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about Atlanta?
It's like I don't know if anybody has a fit about the Cardinal
Atlanta's
highway, but Interstate, don't ever do that.
Yeah.
What about 295 in Jacksonville? I honestly don't recall.
Yeah,
they do. Jacksonville does something a little weird. They do north-south, but they split the highway into a west beltway and an east beltway. So it's north. There's no east or west. It's north-south on the east beltway or north-south on the west beltway. Yeah, and that may have something to do with the fact that the West Beltway was built like 20 or 30 years before the East one. And when they were planning the East bypass, they just decided to integrate it into a full loop around Jacksonville. And they didn't feel like incorporating inner loop, outer loop, which that is not a surprise, but the East-West Beltway is a unique designation.
Going up on the North Stack.
Yeah.
I have to say, this is probably my favorite interchange in the Phoenix area. Isn't this a great view?
It is, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Worth the view.
Yeah, I'm sure my subscribers can't wait to see me upload these videos in 2022. Or whenever the hell it's going to happen at this rate.
Yeah, there's the ramp from I-17 south onto 101 east. That's got a pretty good view of McDowell Mountains from it. What about 64th Street? Do you know if that was open, Dan?
64th Street?
Yeah, you'll be coming up on it in a couple minutes in Scottsdale. That section of the freeway was open in the early 2000s, they completed that interchange, but there was no 64th Street. So if you're going down Bell Road, you'd see a sign that said Future 64th Street.
Yeah, I didn't check that area out when I was in town.
That bridge seems to be isolated.
Yeah, looking at the the aerial, it looks like it's. Sorry about that. Yeah, it looks like it's. To me, it kind of looks like there's just an access road from Mayo Boulevard.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Which actually goes to the Mayo Clinic. Huh.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll see quite a bit of construction for the next several miles, and what they're doing right now is they're adding another lane per direction. So it'll be a 4114 setup. Once that's finished, you'll retain the
very
extra
informative.
vehicle per direction.
Probably gonna end up putting some of that rubberized asphalt down that they like so much too.
All that stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
It's an Arizona staple.
Stay for a year, then it just basically turns into just pebbles the second it starts wearing out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely hear it in the wheels.
Why is it that they use that material? Does it have to do with
So-
the heat of Arizona in the summer, or like what does that have to do?
What I've always understood, it has something to do with cost. It's easy to replace, but it's also a noise reduction thing. Because you can kind of see, like, most of these like older neighborhoods, like on the right, they don't really have all that much sound barriers. So I guess that was kind of a common complaint with some of the freeways when they were built, that there was too much noise bleeding into the neighborhoods.
Yeah, they definitely sound very quiet. The roads that have that material definitely sound quieter than what I hear on other roads.
Yeah, because the concrete portions are very loud, especially the older ones, but those are the ones that hold up the longest, because obviously it's concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, these sound pretty quiet, and then you go up to Wisconsin and drive the freeways there, and it sounds like, you know.
The same thing out here in California. Like, a lot of the concrete sections here are probably original to when they were built.
Yeah, I have seen some old stuff out there. Yep.
I drove in some original concrete today.
What about?
I-88?
I-88.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
And they basically every like 10 years or so they have to diamond grind it.
And it's still horribly rough.
Yeah. But I really enjoy that road. It's a nice, scenic, rural drive with lots of hills surrounding you.
And lots of bumps.
Yep. Well, the thumps are to keep you awake.
Yeah, just don't. That's what the rumble strips are for. Don't drive on them.
Yeah.
51.
Yeah, they never list, like, Central Phoenix as the control point for this, but...
You don't have to have it.
I don't think you even leave the city, honestly. I think it's all
Phoenix. The Phoenix city limits go all the way up to Happy Valley.
Yeah, and they were supposed to annex Anthem at some point. I don't know if it's reached that time frame yet, though.
Yeah. Yeah, who needs a control point for 101? That really is just like, yeah, we're going back the way you were, around back to where we were.
We're just going in a circle.
Yeah.
That's why they call it a loop.
Yeah, that is one thing that is unique to Arizona is the loop route. Which I mean, it's a state highway, right? But
Right.
no other state does like loop highways.
Texas.
In Nebraska, maybe?
Texas does.
Yeah.
Most certainly
yeah.
Texas.
Yeah, 375 in El Paso comes to mind.
Yeah, Texas
There's
has
loops around every city, big and small.
Every flippin' city in Texas has a loop road.
Yep.
Yeah.
You might say Dallas doesn't have one. Loop 12. What's the one around Houston? Oh, they renamed it to Beltway 8.
Yeah, Texas has the
Well, this was
Beltway.
all desert right here at Tatum. Before they even built this thing, the property values skyrocketed right when this section opened.
And here's something that might be of interest to Dan. The musical instrument museum is off of Tatum Boulevard. So I know that you also enjoy some live orchestra and symphony.
I do, yeah.
Big old, I forget what they call that. It's that big shopping center on the left. I forget what they call that thing.
A mall.
It's not quite a mall. I wouldn't really call it. It's not quite a mall. It's not really a shopping center. It's kind of some weird hybrid of
Plaza?
Oh,
Outlet store.
lifestyle center.
No, they got like big stores like Target there, but then they have like this one central building where there's like an arcade in, the music store, Doug just said.
Yeah.
Cool. Don't know. Good.
Should be Mayo then.
Low, one half.
Well, another thing we should bring up is the as we pass through Scottsdale and as we head back south again, there's going to be quite a concentration of Major League Baseball spring training sites.
Oh, yeah.
That we'll be passing in the same zip code of. Is it an even split? 15 teams that train in Arizona and 15 in Florida?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, and all the teams that train in Arizona are all within the Phoenix metro area. I think there's a lot of them in the Scottsdale, Tempe area, and I think there's a few out in Glendale, aren't there?
Glendale, Chandler.
You're going to be passing by one on the 101 at Indian Bend at the Pavilions for the Diamondbacks.
Oh, okay.
They don't even train at their home stadium.
No, they used to train in Tucson actually.
Yeah.
Really?
I think at one time I might have mentioned this on the I-8 tour, but the Padres used to train in Yuma.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
It was. I guess that was just a common complaint that they had was they didn't want to travel between those cities. They all want to be kind of one metro area.
Yeah.
Unlike Florida.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Where it's a little bit more. I mean, most of the concentration is on the Gulf Coast, between like Tampa and Fort Myers of the spring training teams. But then you have some that are, like on the Atlantic coast, like the Mets. Their spring training facilities in Port St. Lucie, for instance.
Yeah, there's quite a cluster on the Atlantic coast, and then there's a cluster in the Tampa down to Bradenton area.
Yeah.
And then you've got some sprinkled all over the place after that.
Yeah.
And speaking of Scottsdale and sports, one of the players for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who was actually a first overall pick a few years ago, Austin Matthews, he comes from Scottsdale. And then, of course, it looks like they also have PGA golf course in Scottsdale as well.
PPC.
Yes.
Is that where the Phoenix Open is held?
The TVC of Scottsdale, yes, it is.
Okay.
Now, you didn't see any remnants of speed cameras on this route, didn't you?
Yeah, we should. That was a good time to touch on the speed camera fiasco.
Yeah, the city of Scottsdale back around 2000, 2006 got into a deal with a company called Redflex, which is based out of the Scottsdale Air Park, or I don't even know if they're really still there now. Anyways, they installed them on the 101 in the city limit and set the calibration to 11 mile per hour over. And it wasn't just the 101 they did it on a lot of the surface streets. But with the freeway, there was a big dispute with DPS over who had jurisdiction actually on speeding tickets. And for a while there, I seem to recall DPS was actually saying, we're not going to enforce speed limits. There was a big public document that was posted showing that they were calibrated to 11 miles per hour over. Which basically, when I lived in Scottsdale at the time, everybody was just doing 10 over and just would never get a ticket. So the city of Scottsdale decided not to opt back in after a year, and those towers just sat there for years and years, just unused because they didn't collect the revenue that they thought they were going to. Oh, interesting note about Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. That's actually where the Barrett Jackson, the big auctions held, just off Pima and Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, I know a thing or two about Frank Lloyd Wright because he was very prominent in the Buffalo, New York area where I went to college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I think he also has a lot of buildings that he designed in Wisconsin as well.
Yes.
He actually designed the S.E. Johnson Wax Company's headquarters in, I want to say, Racine, Wisconsin.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, but the Frank Lloyd Wright, basically house that I want to see and I just haven't gotten to seeing is Falling Order down near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's actually, I think, probably his most famous design.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe we've turned back to the south, haven't we?
We're heading
We are
south.
going south right now.
Yes.
There we go. All right.
And that was a nice little design on the suicide fence.
Yeah, actually, that bridge right there, I remember getting caught in traffic one time because some guy was threatening to jump off of it.
Jeez.
And the truckers actually drove under the bridge, and the guy just didn't even know what to do. He just stayed there until TPS got him.
Wow.
He failed to die.
Shea Boulevard coming up ahead, there is a blue 101 guide sign. If you're heading east towards 101, I got a couple pictures of it still. It was one of the original signs next to the freeway. McDonald Drive will also have one in a couple miles.
It's been a habit of MP to leave their old signs up.
I guess the brown 202s were gone.
Yeah,
It's
202.
Yeah, I stopped looking for blue 101s because I happened to find one right away on my first day.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, well, check this item off the scavenger hunt. I'm good. But, yeah, I think there are still a few scattered about, at least the blue 101s. The brown 202s, as we mentioned when we did the Phoenix webinar, those really faded quite quickly. So I wouldn't expect any of those to still be around.
Yeah, the brown 202s, basically they eventually faded. I think I was mentioning some shade of blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Actually,
that's about to enter Pima Reservation. They run up on the Pavilions, Casino Arizona. This was the section I was telling you about, Dan. When this opened, everybody was doing at least 90 odd. I've never driven as fast on an urban freeway before or since.
Wow.
What was the reason for that? Just people being
just
speed junkies or
it didn't have enough traffic capacity to slow down the flow of traffic until the junction with the 202.
Kind of like right now with the quarantines.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was also kind of a dispute, if I remember right, with the tribe and DPS over who had jurisdiction over actually enforcing traffic laws on the freeway.
Oh, where did all the traffic go?
Yeah, I had to do another stitch job with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Go faster.
You could see the Diamondbacks spring training facility coming up on the right.
Yeah, this is around where it is, right?
Yeah,
Yep, there we go again. Yeah. That's the pavilions that I want to say Talking Stick.
Yeah.
I find it funny that the Diamondbacks have their own spring training facility and their home stadium is about 10 miles from here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We gotta look at it this way too, like maybe not baseball stadiums, but basically I know like football, basketball, hockey, they all have their own separate training facilities.
Yeah, you should have seen the Raiders one that got built. That is huge.
Where's that one?
Vegas.
Oh, so they had to. Right, yeah. So they built a new one way out in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely like that. I mean, Packers, they have Lambeau Field, and then they got the practice facility called the Don Hudson Center.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you saw that.
Yeah, I did. As you know, I spent some quality time in Green Bay last year.
Very good.
Got to see all of that stuff. Yeah, got to see the Packers win, which was a big highlight of my dad's year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was in Green Bay a couple of years ago, but it was basically on a road trip where I went into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I was going back through Wisconsin. It was during the middle of the week, and I actually think the Packers were away that week. It was the beginning of the football season. But I did make sure to at least drive to Lambeau Field just to see what it looked like in person, even though I'm actually a Bills fan. So,
well, maybe when the Bills come in, you can come in and get hugged.
Yeah, you can take some people and throw them through chairs, or throw them through tables.
Get the table.
To tie it in with tonight's presentation, the Bills are playing the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Chargers this year.
They are.
They got the Western.
They got the AFC West and the NFC West. They have to play this year.
Okay.
Huh.
They play the Titans too, don't they?
Yeah, well, Titans were the I'm gonna say the second place team of the AFC South.
Yeah, we would have been second.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the Bills graduated to be playing the Steelers this year, so no more Bengals or Browns.
Oh.
So somebody mentioned in the comments, AJ, that there's no spur routes of interstates in Arizona. That wasn't planned as the case. Basically, what happened was Arizona couldn't get any auxiliary interstate designations. There were some that were planned and some that were actually built. Like I-410 was planned to go through what is now the Deck Park Tunnel, but parts of the 101 were planned as Arizona 417, Arizona 117. So it looked like they couldn't get anybody to agree with an interstate designation, but it looked like they were at some point going to do the whole 3-digit interstate numbering convention.
Curious to know why they would have such a disagreement there.
A lot of it had to do with, you think about it, back in the 50s, like Phoenix was like just a medium-sized city. It really was.
Oh, that's true.
It would be hard to convince them to do a chargeable interstate out there when you got California vying for like dozens per city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it just doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up working out just fine as it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the freeways except for the Camelback Freeway ended up being built. Yeah, Arizona's one of them. Well, Phoenix is one of the more complete freeway grids.
Mm-hmm.
Without the need of auxiliary routes, which is pretty unique.
Right. I'm still trying to find 404 though.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be the next one. You never know.
Should have done that with 24.
Well,
I'm not understanding why they did that with 24 or 30. Like, just random numbers they're throwing out now. The state highway numbers used to actually mean something, but that kind of went to the wayside when the interstates came around.
Well, I think that's the case in a lot of states too, where basically, they did a lot more clustering or things like that, and then the interstates came along, they changed numbers, and then new numbers or numbers they replaced. They just kind of pulled whatever they thought would work. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory with getting 24.
24, yeah.
202, now you go 4.
Yeah, but like the Camelback Freeway, that's the one that I was talking about before. That was planned as Arizona 50, so I guess there was some kind of correlation with AZ 51, which was planned as I-510.
Is 60 we're crossing?
202. This is where the brown signs would have been.
Okay. And then have a full movement set, or 101 second heights.
Yep, so we're still heading south, and we're going to intersect with 202 a couple of times within the course of about 10 miles. Because, as you may recall, 202 does that little boomerang path where it starts, somebody chucks it going east, and then it rebounds to the west again. And the two halves of 202 are relatively close to each other. And speaking of 202, we'll be getting on 202 in a little while to help complete the circle. But yeah, as I said about 30 miles ago, you have your pretty standard setup of freeway design here, and not much has changed over the course of our drive. We still have our HOV lane on the left, and we've graduated to 4 lanes per direction in this section as we approach the Superstition Freeway, US 60.
Yes. I remember that freeway back when it was only 4 lanes towards the city because it wasn't as long or built up.
Yeah. And that was when? What year?
80s.
80s? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that somebody mentioned in the comments when it was originally built, it was Arizona 360.
Yeah.
In the
260 was a 2-lane road, surface street then.
Yeah, it was on the surface road. It was Apache Trail and Main and Mesa. Then parts of that are still US 60X, which is a designation ADOT uses for roads they still maintain, even though they just don't sign them anymore.
Not to self. TM. Put them in. Oh, wait, they're not interstates. Now, this interchange has a little weird configuration because it has a couple hook or loop ramps in them.
Yes, it does, yeah. I think the one on the one coming from 60 West departs along with the ramp to 101 North, and then does a prompt 180-degree turn.
Yeah, that's a wild ramp. That's difficult to pull that one off at speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, difficult, very, very.
I think it's signed at like 25 or maybe even 20 miles an hour. Yeah, it's a tight ramp there.
Yeah.
That's stack, huh? It's only a 3-level stack, pretty much. We're passing through territory that my family lives or has lived out in.
we have more construction here, which I assume is for the same purpose that we saw earlier, which is for lane addition.
Adeline.
That's the thing, like, Phoenix really exploded in the last 30 years as far as freeway construction, and these freeways that started out as these 2-lane highways are now these 10-lane monsters within a relatively short amount of time.
Right.
But it is commendable that Arizona is trying their best to keep up as well as they are. You don't see this aggressive a treatment of their existing freeways in other states.
They planned it out with this much width in it so they could expand them pretty quickly. That section of 101 up in the Pima Reservation, I remember when they opened that, it was 4 lanes, and I think it was like within 6 months they started working on 2 additional.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like what they were doing up in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
215.
yeah, pretty much same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Planning for the future.
Yeah.
Now look at those light standards on the right. The ones that had the long goose curve.
Looks like something in Pennsylvania.
Thanks to the power lines right above, they want to kind of get them out of the way.
Yeah.
I've seen worse. Down in downtown Mesa, they pretty much angle right from the surface.
Yeah, so once the 101 projects are complete, I think those are due at the end of the year, but someone was mentioning in the chat what the next major project in Phoenix is, and I believe it is the Broadway Curve project on 10. That's going to be a several-year project where they're adding lanes and all sorts of stuff, straightening out curves and improving interchanges.
Straightening out the Broadway Curve. I think there are too many buildings there.
Yeah, well, they're calling it the Broadway Curve project, but they're doing a whole bunch of stuff in that stretch from the 60 split on in through the 17 split.
General purpose. Each way?
Yeah, like they're adding a bunch of new lanes per direction through there. Because that is definitely like as big as it is right now, it's definitely a choke point as it is, because you have all the traffic from 60 coming in there, and all the traffic from 10. It's just a mess, especially around the airport. Well, we're approaching our second interchange with Loop 202, which means we're coming to the clockwise terminus of Loop 101. So for those of you who have not yet done so, please update your clinch logs to reflect that you now all have Loop 101 clinched.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Yippee skippy! Yay!
Yeah.
Yippee skippy!
I know a family of 3.
Huzzah!
I'm sure a certain family of 3 in Maryland is saying that right now.
Yay! Yay!
Okay, Josh.
So as we turn to the right or back to the west, we're going to enter the 202. This is the Santan Freeway section of 202, and we're going to follow that for a few miles. As we're now we're in the southern quadrant of the loop.
17 adding 3 DDIs, Death Diamonds.
Good old Death Diamonds.
That's what a certain person calls them in Missouri.
Is that what you call them, Death Diamonds?
A certain person in Missouri.
Yeah,
I'm not going to name names here.
I've heard somebody call them.
Yeah, I've heard a few people. I've seen a few people reference the DDIs by the name Death Diamonds.
Well, they're not death riddled at all as long as you can follow directions.
Correct.
Maybe it's a
That's
directional.
hard
Which
for
I
a lot of
understand.
people, though.
I understand that might be asking a lot of a lot of people, but you know.
Yeah, I took a trip out to some Stevenson Falls in the Sierra Nevadas yesterday, and I've been asked probably like 50 times how do I GPS directions to this place, and I keep telling people it's like you're gonna have to read the signs, and they're like terrified of that prospect.
That sounds like a bunch of waterfall groups I'm on Facebook.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Can I ask a question while we're on the Santan Freeway for a minute?
Sure.
How the hell is the name of this freeway spelled? Is it
Santan.
right? But
Yes,
is
it's named after
it
the Santan Mountains.
is it 2 words?
I think it's 2.
Is it like
That's
capital
fair.
SAN, capital TAN?
I know
Yeah,
it's
sure.
I know it's just Santan, Santan, but I'm not sure if it's 1 word or 2.
Because I've seen like 3 different possibilities for that, and I'm not sure. I've also seen like 1 word with SAN, capital TAN as 1 word.
Yeah.
It's the internet. What do you expect?
You know, I gotta be ready for what I'm gonna title this video as in the year 2024. So I just gotta make sure I'm on the right track here.
Yeah, by the time we
words.
by the time we finish driving the South Mountain Freeway, it won't be 2024. It'll be 2034 that you'll have to title it.
I might. Because you know me, I'm just going to keep adding stuff, and then I'm probably going to forget that I was even in Phoenix to begin with.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, speaking of South Mountain Freeway, welcome to that freeway. And let's take a moment here as we pass through the I-10 stack to remind you folks that this is the newest freeway in the Phoenix metropolitan area. It opened in December 2019.
That stack is beautiful.
Yes, it is. It was there for a long time, but it just was never utilized as a freeway to freeway until the South Mountain was built.
But unlike the Pulaski Skyway, where someone on MTR years ago referred to the Pulaski Skyway as sexy.
Yeah.
4 lanes. 4 general purpose lanes.
Oh, Adam.
Yep, so this freeway has been on planning maps going back to the 80s, and it was finally given the green light for construction a few years ago. Throughout most of the trip here for the next 15 miles or so, we're going to be passing through either a lightly developed area or a completely undeveloped area. But the formula for the freeway will not change. We'll have 3 general purpose plus HOV. Again, that familiar formula that you're used to seeing in the Phoenix area now. But yeah, this freeway was built to full capacity. They expect this area to be another sprawl haven in another 10 years. So they're building the capacity today to accommodate that.
May as well.
Who knows? Maybe people start flocking out here after the pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, Arizona never shut down because Arizona. So
All right.
Actually, they did.
yeah, but I mean, do you really expect Arizona people to follow directions?
Or anyone else for that matter.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. The only thing that really got affected right now was the economy. I mean, yes, people were unemployed and all that stuff, but they probably still have a chance to get out. They had a chance to get out, they just go.
Yeah.
Think New Jersey. Oh, parts are closed. Let's just go to New York.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you bastards are clogging up all the parks, but now I don't think that's an issue. I didn't go
No,
out
they're back
today,
open again.
so I don't know what the parks were like, but it definitely, like, as soon as New Jersey reopened the parks, the park volumes in New York definitely went down a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that starting Memorial Day weekend, the beaches in Delaware, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut are all supposed to be open to 50% capacity. And part of that was a regional response because, let's say, if New Jersey opened their beaches, but New York didn't, everyone would be spilling into New Jersey.
Right, yeah. And that's one of the things that I've really liked about the response in the Northeast is that all the states appear to be on the same page with each other as far as...
Except for Maine.
Well, except for New Jersey with the parks. But,
as opposed to California and those states in the West and in the Midwest, neither group there are on the same page.
Yes.
I mean, California, there are counties that are shutting down for months yet. In
LA County.
Yep, and in the Midwest, there are states that are using this as a political statement. Or at least one state is.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So you know that out west, a bunch of the states, I think it was like California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Colorado, and there might have been another one or two more states. They were trying to do a regional response too. So.
Yep. Fail.
Yep. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on what happens in the mountain states for later this year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I already gave up on Hawaii for this year. So.
Of course, I'm keeping an eye out in Oregon. Pretty much given up on going to Alaska, but my mom being out in Oregon, maybe I will get to hopefully go out there at the end of August.
I still have my 2 weeks that I was planning on using for Hawaii.
All right.
The work is actually shut down during that time, so I probably might, depending on how safe it is, try for the Virginia Beach area.
Yeah. Like I have a few backup plans. Let's say if I can't go out to Oregon, one of the plans was actually to go to the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia for a few days, do a little bit of hiking.
Yeah, I was actually considering West Virginia myself.
Yeah,
that's an area I haven't really explored that much.
Yeah. West Virginia, like the freeways and the Appalachian corridors are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting
Corridor H.
Corridor H is one.
Interesting drives. Yeah. Corridor H, Corridor L is nice.
Yeah.
Corridor G is nice.
Yeah.
Corridor D.
The West Virginia Turnpike is
nice.
Is the last of the eastern toll roads that I have not yet driven.
Ooh.
You didn't hit the ones in Virginia, Richmond?
Well, yeah, no, I've done that one.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
You're
talking about I-95, right?
No, that's not the one. I'm talking about the...
Pocahontas Parkway and crap like that.
No, I did that years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably, hopefully, if things get better, head down to Virginia, West Virginia myself.
Yeah, I think that our vacation plans are definitely changing away from being in dense areas to being in rural areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rural areas closer to home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
think I'm flying this year.
No.
I mean, I kind of skew more towards visiting rural areas, anyways, if I get the chance. So, I mean that hasn't changed too much, or like smaller cities. But basically, I think the idea is like, I think one of my original plans this year was actually to go to Nova Scotia for a week, and actually that would have been a few weeks from now. But I'm probably going to go June of next year. Hoping that
they open the border.
Hopefully they'll be open by then. But
speaking of rural areas, check out these rock cuts.
Yeah, it's the edge of South Mountain Park, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot here development-wise as of now, but I'm sure that's going to
Yeah.
change.
What's interesting is the city limit of Phoenix actually ends on at the edge of the freeway. Then you got the Gila reservation south of there. So I remember there was a huge contentious battle between the state and the tribe because part of the 202 through the South Mountain corridor was going to have to go through the tribal land. I guess they got that sorted out. But that's why I-10 is in such bad shape through the Gila reservation. A lot of that ties back to that the state never built them the frontage roads they promised them.
You're talking about the part that's only 4-lane?
Yep.
Between Phoenix and Casa Grande?
Yep, that's all on the reservation.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Josh, you know a thing or two about sections of the New York State Thruway through
Oh,
reservations that
God!
are in terrible shape.
Thruway Interstate 86 had a section that was held up for a long time because of the Senecas.
Yeah. Well, the section of the Thruway, what was that, up by Silver Creek?
Yeah, but that was so bad that they had to reduce the speed limit to 55 on it.
Yeah, because it was. You had potholes all the way. Yeah,
pushing it.
Yeah, you had potholes all the way down to the sub base on that, from what I heard.
That was in that section you were often better off hopping off the road.
Yeah. Just shunpiking down the Fredonia and getting back on.
Right.
And yes, it was often in some cases faster to use surface roads because it was in such bad shape.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was another native tribal land dispute.
Yeah, that was held up for 10 years.
No, got to be more than that. Because
that's at least 10 years.
Because some of that was the original pavement or the original base asphalt that was coming.
Yeah.
Up. Yeah. So they hadn't touched that in.
Yeah, they hadn't touched that in forever. 86 has a similar situation. It was built in 1970s, and they hadn't been able to touch it until 2015. So
yeah,
it was falling apart. Some closed for a while.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're rejoining some semblance of civilization here in the video. Some of these exits that we've passed over the last 20 miles or so are just exits to nowhere as of now. But
there'll be exits to somewhere eventually.
Yeah, they will.
Yes.
Yep. Especially out this way. There's not a whole lot that's out this way. But yeah, they built all the exits ahead of time. Like sometimes you'll see them build freeways and then add the exits later, but they really wanted to build the exits in this corridor first.
Right.
With the initial construction.
And they're built
the
for
whole
2-lane
concept of building ahead.
Yeah.
They're built for 2-lane ramp capacity, so.
Yep.
Yeah, that portion of asphalt to the right of the white line, that's future lane.
Yep. That's right.
Yep. Lanes, lanes, and more lanes.
What do we need more of in Phoenix? More lanes.
What are we now?
Why do we want them? Now.
And Arizona DOT will more than likely comply with that.
Woohoo! Yippee skippy.
So if you guys are enjoying this video in the live chat, we're
almost
happy
over.
to have all of you with us. Make sure you click the like button on this video. Let us know that you're enjoying this presentation. We appreciate it. If you haven't already done so. Because if you click the like button twice, it actually reverts back to the net is a not like.
And that's bad.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yes.
I know that a lot of our viewers are angry, but we want you guys to... What the hell is this guy doing? I forgot about that guy.
Okay, Massachusetts driver.
Yeah.
This is a snowbird season, wasn't it?
That's a Massachusetts move.
That's a
move right there.
Massachusetts move.
That's got to be a snowbird.
I'm a hop on, move all the way over to the left lane immediately.
Yep. Don't care who's coming at me.
Yep.
Got a few miles and we're done.
This is around where the 30 freeway would cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you remember from the webinar, there's a West Valley relief route in the works that will be designated as Highway 30, and it would run roughly in this area.
Mm-hmm.
More or less along the corridor of old US 80 and MC 85.
Makes me wonder why they need an HOV lane when there's no traffic.
Oh, it's planning for the future, right?
It's
Also probably condition of building the freeway.
Yeah. Well, there's what? There's 10 cars on this freeway right now. There's probably going to be 10 million cars on this freeway 10 years from now.
Yeah, I don't even honestly know what the point of the HOV lanes are because they're not really all that restrictive, honestly, compared to most states anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they're very loose in this state.
Yeah. Well, Arizona does the peak hour thing, but
I've got a lot of dummies in the passenger seat.
Well, I wonder how much it's enforced myself.
Mm.
But, yeah, well, I definitely like the Arizona model way better than the Nevada model, which is 24 hours.
Yeah. The Nevada model was mimicked after the Los Angeles model.
Right.
Yeah, it was nice having access to those lanes outside of rush hour. Like, you just get around a lot of the slow pokes. I was talking about snowbirds a little bit. Yeah, there's quite a few. So, like, during the wintertime in Arizona, there is a significantly higher volume of slower drivers.
Yeah.
Just like up here, slows down every summer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, we've come to the western terminus of the South Mountain Freeway, and this is the clockwise terminus of Loop 202. So, I hope you enjoyed this look at the newest freeway in the Phoenix area. We're now turning west onto I-10 to complete the circle that we started a little over an hour ago.
Yep. And we can update our clinched highway maps.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah, that's a new segment for me. I haven't been back since that opened.
There you go. See? If we do one of these virtual tours every weekend for the next 20 years, we'll get you guys a lot of the highlights of the American highway system without you having to go outside.
Yeah, maybe do a virtual tour of every highway in Arizona. You can finish the entire state.
I got within a couple miles of actually finishing the state highway system before I moved. I think I had only 50 miles left.
Yeah. I have all the state highways finished in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. So.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm just New York right now, but hopefully for Vermont and hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have the advantage of having small states over there.
True, but yeah, they still have
not a small system though.
Yeah, they're still systems of some size. I know that I kind of been veering away from that, but I might decide to finish all the state routes in New Jersey at some point. That's kind of on the.
That's a sizable system.
That's kind of basically an idea that's out there. So.
Yeah. I have all the Wisconsin routes, highways.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All the trunk highways.
All of the numbered trunk highways.
Yeah.
Problem I'm out in California is there's a couple routes you got to get out and actually hike to finish.
Yup.
Really?
Yup.
Really?
39 and 173.
Yup.
So only clinchable on foot?
Yeah, because landslides.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
39 is still closed?
39
Yes.
is still closed.
I thought they opened that up at some point.
Nope.
It's technically open as a fire access road, and I think it did get used at least once in the last couple of years. And 173 between Lake Arrowhead and Cajon Pass, same thing. Like it's used for fire escape in theory, but no, neither one of those has been fixed. And 173, that's the last dirt state highway in California.
Wow.
133 had to have been open before, hadn't it?
It was actually. It was actually part of 2 originally.
Uh-huh.
So that was, like with Angeles Crest and everything, they were going for some like grand epic route there, and it just never really kind of completely panned out.
Yeah, I'm just checking it out right now because there had been some areas that I had taken. No, I didn't.
Well, we've completed the lap around the Phoenix metro area, and this half of the presentation, the half including the Phoenix Beltway, has come to an end. So I hope you enjoyed that. Round of applause, okay. And, all right, let's, it is 7:22 right now on the East Coast. Let's take an 8-minute break and reconvene at 7:30 so that you guys can, like, get up, get a drink, get a bite to eat or whatever, because when we come back, 4:05.
At 4 or 5 miles an hour.
I did decently well on this highway, as we'll see. But we'll see at 7:30.
Maybe we'll follow OJ.
Well, you know what?
Just pretend it's California 7 still.
We can, we have a lot to talk about with the 405, and we'll get into that starting at 7:30. But now a word from our local ABC stations. Doug, how many Atlanta Thrashers jerseys do you own? He must have stepped out for a minute.
I think you might have.
Yeah.
Atlanta Thrashers jersey.
That's all right. You got 43 people in the live chat. That's impressive. For a Saturday night to come out and listen to us ramble on about roads, man, that's not bad.
Yep.
Listen to you ramble on, Scott. You never knew you'd be so famous, did you?
It depends on how you look at it.
We've been doing this for 2 months, more or less, because it's May 16th, and we came to a stop here in New York on March 13th.
Yeah. About the same time everybody else came to a stop.
Yeah.
Right about those 2 weeks.
Yeah. And, doing this stuff for the last couple months has really helped the time go by a lot quicker, because there's been a lot of structure to everything.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been nice being able to come out here and do something as opposed to just sitting around.
Yeah, because what else would you be doing,
Well, I'm not in the yard playing around.
Oh, God, my yard is so tiny I'd probably trip over something and critically injure myself.
Yeah, I got a patch around a tree that you got cut back that I'm trying to grow grass in. So far, there's nothing.
Yeah, I'm tearing out the annually dead ryegrass presently. I only got about halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I've been telling my wife about the Midwest every time we go there. It's like some bizarro world to her because everyone's got like this nice manicured yard. Like everyone's got like boundaries. Like don't go over my yard line. I'm talking about Michigan specifically. She's like, what is up with everybody in their yard? I'm like, they're yard Nazis. Like, what can I say?
So your wife's from out west?
Yeah, she's from Fresno.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was just like bizarre world going to Michigan last year. Just everything was so different. She's like, why is it rebuilding brick? This doesn't make sense.
Well, that explains why you live in Fresno, I guess, right?
Yeah, I met her here.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so I moved out here on a job transfer because I wanted to get back out west. But yeah, just life out here is so much different than it is in the Midwest or East Coast. Like I got so many people that I know that have never been past like Phoenix. Like, it is such a different thing than what they're used to.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, I'm driving around New Mexico and Arizona back in February. It was, completely different than what I've been used to. Because, I grew up in New York, and up until I was about 25 or so, I hadn't really been west of the Appalachians. So to see all this stuff, like the mountains and like out in California, and it was just really eye-opening for me these last couple of winters to do these trips.
Yeah.
When I went out there to Phoenix in 1993, my brother had moved out there. Forget exactly what we were doing besides seeing him, but I'm like, oh man, I got to move out here. It's like, what am I doing in Michigan? Where I live sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, even though like half my family's out in Oregon, I actually have only really been out there. I had only been out there a couple times growing up. It's basically my Western travels for the most part have really been in the past 15 years or so. And
Yep.
and one of these days, I would like to live in an RV and travel the West. Probably base myself out of Spokane or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one
That's
I know
one of my,
we're looking at Washington State at some point. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but that looks nice.
Yeah.
I'm used to the dreary weather, so I'm all good with that. But
Yeah.
Part of Washington State, the central or eastern?
it'd be the western part of the state.
Oh.
Yeah, so around Spokane, you got clear skies most of the time, but not around Puget Sound.
You know what the difference between I-16 and I-90 in Seattle is? Or the Cascades are?
What's up?
It's hilly in the Cascades.
Yeah.
There's nothing but trees otherwise.
It's like I-95 in northern Maine.
Mm-hmm.
You get north of like Orono, and basically it's nothing but trees until you get pretty close to Holton.
So boring. It's
It does
the
have-
most boring.
Is
Section
that
of
Tree. Look, a bridge. Tree.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember back in 2005, I did a trip we call 27 Hours of Maine. It was the infamous C.C. Slater, you might know him as Otto Yamamoto, and we actually drove around Maine for 27 hours straight.
What?
Somehow my car managed to get back to Waterford, New York in one piece.
This is a new sign.
Then I went to sleep for 8 hours and I drove up to Rutland.
Well, you had to go Vermonting, right?
That's far, that comes the territory,
That's true, yeah.
Vermonting.
That's another thing I gotta do at some point in the future is explore more of Vermont.
Yes, you do.
I really
You need to
haven't
go
done that much.
Vermonting, and
Yeah, it's not that far away, and I really just haven't done it that much.
mhm.
Nice
You know what's
mountain roads.
interesting? I live about 20 minutes from the Connecticut border. I don't remember off the top of my head the last time I was in Connecticut.
Whoa.
Like I never think to go east or north for that matter. Like Albany is like in another country as far as I'm concerned, at least until I get a job up there. But like I never thought to go up to Albany. I never thought to go to Connecticut or anywhere like that. I always am thinking west and south.
Yeah.
But
Like I'm usually thinking, west or east, because I'm right at the doorstep of Vermont and Massachusetts.
right, yeah.
And when I moved out to the Albany area, I started exploring around like Vermont and Western Mass, and then New England started captivating me. So
Yeah. Well, it feeds into your hiking thing too.
yeah, well, it's even before I really got into hiking.
Yeah.
Of course, the Adirondacks not that far from me. I don't really go south that often unless it's like between like November or April. I'm like, if it's like between May and October, I want to be north.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would hit Vermont, Hampshire quite a bit when we were in Connecticut. We hardly ever went west.
Well, one highway that you won't be able to hike, or I wouldn't advise you hike, is the 405 in the Los Angeles metro area, and that'll be our next focus this evening. This
You
channel,
might end up going at hiking speed sometimes.
well, you could, yeah.
But anyway,
The 405 is about 70 miles long. We'll skip. We don't need to go over the announcements and all that. We already did that. The 405 is about 75 miles long. It begins in the south at the El Toro Y near Irvine, where the 5 and the 405 freeway split. It takes a more coastal route, passing closer to Long Beach, Santa Monica, LAX Airport, before rejoining the 5 in the northwest of the metro area, within a few miles of the start of the Grapevine Pass. So this is about a 75-mile trip, and in this video we accomplished that complete coverage in about an hour, which is unheard of on most.
How'd you manage that?
How did I
I was
manage
going
that?
to say, right?
I have no idea how I pulled that off, but I don't know
Very
that
careful.
anyone has ever done it that fast before. But
I'm sure people are doing it faster now.
Yeah, because of COVID.
yeah, well, right. But of course, under normal conditions, I don't know how anybody would ever come close to that.
Well, yeah,
I
but
did it one time, actually, in the middle of rush hour. I don't know how, but never stopped.
Wow.
Shoulder driving?
You left lane the entire time.
Yeah.
Just
It might have been Cannonball. It may have been Cannonball Run Day.
speaking of Cannibal Run, somebody had just done it in 26 hours.
Oh,
26 hours New York to LA.
they broke the record? Is that what you're saying?
They
did.
again. It has been broken 5 times in the past 2 months.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. This is a good time to do it, right? Well, anyway, folks, it's an hour to get from Irvine up to the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains, and along the way we'll pass through some of Los Angeles' most notable suburban scenery. So enjoy this trip on the 405. Welcome to your hell. Let's go.
And it
Well,
begins at the El Toro Y.
Here's the El
If your
Toro.
hell is sunny California.
This is the El Toro Y, where the 5 and the 405 split near the city of Irvine.
Yep.
I
see button
somebody,
copy, right?
Somebody was mentioning, one of you guys was mentioning some guy named Orenthal Simpson.
Orenthal.
James.
I think I mentioned this in the webinar when we did Los Angeles, that actually the famous police chase in June of 1994 took place on this freeway from Irvine on up to Santa Monica. So we are retracing the infamous tire tracks of a white Ford Bronco from June of 1994 over the course of this video.
You just saw him.
Hey, there he is.
He's running for his Hertz rent-a-car.
Yeah.
He is the superstar in Rent-A-Car.
Yes.
Although he's bankrupt now, or he's declared for bankruptcy, or whatever the hell happened to Hertz.
Who didn't drink?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yours hasn't, but
Not yet. So the Irvine Spectrum is on the right. As we'll take more of a westerly track for the first 20 miles or so. But yeah, this is the 405. This is the freeway that everyone loves to hate, at least in Southern California. And we'll get you a clinch of this highway so you can update your trackers by the end of the evening. Has anybody in the AA Roads chat actually made that an acceptable version of a clinch?
we should.
Somebody ought to really look into that.
Yeah.
We got to talk to some guy from Idaho about that one.
Yeah.
Well,
I know it's 405. There's actually greeting cards about the 405.
Are there?
Yeah.
Yes, there are. I gave my wife one before. I drive the 405 for you. That's how much I love you.
It's like I would get onto the 405 at 5 p.m. for you.
Oh, it's like that? Okay.
Yeah, I'll actually share the link with the live chat.
Oh, so they like Valentine's Day.
And just so you know, there are 2 HOV lanes on each side of this road.
They have their own exits mostly.
Mm-hmm. 24/7, of course.
Because LA.
Yep.
Yeah, well, LA is one of those places where you almost need to have 24-hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like Vegas where nobody's on the frickin' road at noon, so there's no reason to have HOV at noon. But because of the size of LA and the metro area, it does make some sense to have that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed there was quite a bit of button copies at some of the junctions we've passed. That's pretty common still on the 405. It's original to the San Diego Freeway in general.
Yeah, we're going to pass a lot of old button copy over the course of this trip. There was still a lot of old stuff in San Diego, although you could tell that some of it was in the process of being replaced. But yeah, like Southern California still has a lot of old stuff hanging around.
Quite odd for California to be replacing things. In my opinion.
But the thing is, like, they're having a problem right now, Caltrans, with some of their newer vinyl signs with them peeling. Like, you have the upper layer starting to peel off. Just doesn't seem like they really got a good grasp on vinyl quite yet. And I think it was the 1990s when they finally phased out button copy. So there's still newer stuff around. It looks fairly good still. It's nowhere near as reflective as vinyl, but it's neat looking at least.
It's supposed to be downtown Irvine coming up.
Yep, one of the many edge cities of Los Angeles.
Yes.
Basically the whole LA basin is one edge city. If you're not in LA proper. I didn't get to go out to the Inland Empire on this trip, but is it a lot like this too, out that way?
It's basically the exact same thing.
Yep.
Like Riverside and out that way?
Yeah, I mean, the probably, if you're going to drive freeways out there, the two that I think are worth it would be CA60, old US 60 through Moreno Valley, which dips to an expressway at the end, but also technically part of the Rim of the World Highway on 18 going up the Crest Line is fully limited access, and it's like the most extreme version of what someone might consider a freeway, probably you can find out there in the U.S.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that the control city on 405 is Long Beach.
Because it's coming towards Long Beach.
But the 405 doesn't go to Long Beach. But, it's one of those quirky things, right? Because 405 is cardinal signed as north-south.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously Long Beach isn't north of here, technically. So
Like using Santa Ana for going out of downtown LA.
They had a lot more with the naming of the freeways that kind of make a little bit more sense than probably some of the cardinal directions you're going to see on some of these signs.
405 FWY.
I don't recall from earlier in the video, but was there like a San Diego freeway sign when you're emerging on from I-5?
I don't remember seeing one going north. There is one going south.
Yeah, right as you're splitting from San Fernando.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's still a couple hangovers on some of the major junctions around LA.
Oh, there's one on 5 at 134 back when I was out there. Don't know if that's still there now.
Yeah, there's a couple Golden State, some Hollywood freeways, Ventura Freeway. I got quite a few photos of them. They're mostly the older button copy stuff.
And then you see some of the blue signs, some of the green signs that say 405, and then underneath it says FWY.
Right.
Yes, it is a freeway. 22 is paralleling right now, is it? And then this is the toll road we're going under.
Yeah, this is around where 73 merges in, right?
Don't
Yeah.
get 73 by accident. You'll regret
On
it.
Costa Mesa.
Yeah. Well, Dan did, but not by accident.
Yeah, mine was completely intentional. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to scrounge around for about $8 worth of coins.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Jeez.
It's kind of like driving on the Garden State Parkway. It was the old Bag of Change Boulevard.
Yeah, I was the coin jockey for my dad on that for many years.
Yeah.
Get the quarters. Like, what's your problem? Hurry up.
The one thing that I recall from California, especially back in the 90s, is LA always been known for their lane shifts without warning. You noticed it on the 10 south of downtown.
You mean like
Hooters! Woohoo!
You mean like a construction pattern shift?
Yeah, and even when it's not under construction, it would just feel like it just shifts.
Yeah.
Instruction's more a suggestion.
Yeah. Especially in California, yes, because I don't even notice that many speed zones in constructions.
Yeah, I
Not that anybody
hardly
really
ever see them.
cares. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, slowing down just isn't going to fly. They're trying it on the Santa Ana freeway on I-5, at least when I went through there last year, but nobody was paying attention to it.
Well, they can't really close any lanes without causing a Armageddon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the popular term that they've used for full freeway shutdowns.
Yeah, they
Out
use.
here.
I-405 popularized it. With Carmageddon.
Yep. Oh yes, I remember that.
Uh-huh. That was when they were doing it over Sepulveda Pass. They were building an overpass, replacing it, and they had to close the freeway overnight to do that.
Well, they did that over the course of a weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, it
Right.
was
And it made national news.
Yeah.
That was back in-
That's a catchy name for it.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
think that was back in 2013, wasn't it?
It's been a
Around
few
then.
years now.
Around then, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that because that happened when I was out there.
I can't imagine the amount of planning that goes into something like that. Because as you guys know, I'm in the construction business, and we deal a lot with highway traffic and traffic management and stuff like that. I just can't imagine like all the planning and all the all the stuff that goes into having to shut down a freeway like this over the course of a weekend just to make sure that you get everything done that you have to get done in that period of time. Not just the on-site stuff, but also, managing the ripple effects throughout the region because you're shutting down that freeway.
All the detours.
Yeah, even like
just
all the,
one detour.
yeah, like all the detour stuff. That's a major operation in and of itself.
Then right.
So
And you got an official detour, and then you got the impromptu detours that people just choose to use.
yeah,
Yup.
yep,
Yeah, like,
yeah. Like all that stuff is really, really fascinating to me.
Yeah, with
You're saying-
Sepulveda Pass, you don't really have that many alternatives, at least limited access. You would probably have to use the Hollywood Freeway.
Yeah, because there's not really that much out there as far as parallel, alternate, highways, right?
The 101, the 5, the 2, and then you have to go all the way out to the 71 and 57, 55, or whatever that is.
Yeah, I guess you could probably get away with maybe taking CA-27 through Topanga Canyon if on a weekend, but that still would probably be filled with traffic.
Yeah.
But Sepulveda Boulevard, if I remember right, that was, I think on one of them it was closed because they were so concerned with people trying to go down old CA-7 next to the 405. And I remember, where did it go? It was, looking up on my map, there was one road a lot of the commuters were using that was really getting everybody upset during all that.
Getty Center.
Might have been Laurel Canyon. Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I did notice when I was out there when traffic jams up on the freeway, everything just spills right onto the side roads.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a common thing in the West. Texas has that problem too.
It's part of the problem too is you just don't have that redundancy at all given the terrain usually. With California specifically, they did a really bad job historically with not retaining some of those surface highways that were there. I mean, not necessarily 405, Sepulveda Boulevard is still there.
Right.
But like with I-5 going over, like the Tehachapi Mountains, the Sierra Pelona Mountains, they basically just didn't maintain the old Ridge Route or Ridge Route alternate, and whenever that stops, you're hosed.
Yeah,
It's not-
your SOL. Your alternate there is I-15 and State Route 58, basically.
Yeah, well, you could take San Francisco Canyon Road, but you gotta know your way around, and most people don't.
Yes, exactly. I took that route when I was out there.
That's the original road that they actually was the main route to travel through there before they built the Ridge Route, was through that canyon.
Mm-hmm.
I know on one of the Facebook groups I'm in, there was a woman who was basically taking pictures of the old Ridge Route.
Yeah, we got a big article on that too.
Yeah.
We got a big article on the Ridge Route. That's I like going out there to hike and ride a bike.
Yeah, we don't have much in the way of old roads that are like hiking trails out my way, but there's a few little bits here and there.
A few, but there aren't many.
All right, I know that there's one mountain up the, I think it was Goodman. Was it Goodman Mountain up the Adirondacks, where part of the
that's the alignment of Route 30.
Yeah, and then at the New York Massachusetts line, there's an old alignment of. Really, an old alignment of US 20. Brian Farr, who runs the historic Route 20 association, he's been doing some short videos, and one of the videos he posted a few weeks ago was this. Basically, you can hike an old alignment of US 20 at the state line, and basically there's an old. From an old post road, there's an old marker. They had like the little basin where you basically fill your cars with water in order to be able to get up the hill and things like that. A little interesting.
Yeah, some of those are really cool though when they incorporate them into trail systems.
There was a San Diego Freeway sign about a minute ago on this video.
Was there one off to the side somewhere?
Yep, where the 22 merged onto this, and after the flyover, the HOV, that came up.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought there might have been a northbound one somewhere, but I don't remember where it was. But okay.
We found it.
Here's a major split where the 22 departs towards Long Beach, and we have the 605, which departs to the north towards the San Gabriel Mountains, where the 405 will take a jog to the west at this point.
So you either go to Long Beach, Los Angeles, or through traffic.
Yeah.
That's right.
This was kind of really under construction when I was out here, and it was a mess.
And it's really under construction, and it's still a mess.
Yeah.
Like the order of the day every day out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were building the HOVs when I was out there.
They're pretty impressive, though. They're actually really high quality, some of them. Especially some of those exit lanes out of there. That did help with a lot of the traffic flow. At least that's how I feel, because I kind of had a 5-year gap in there when I was really driving in LA between when I came back, and I felt like it was a lot more smooth. It just kind of, I'm not interacting with it every day, but it felt different to me.
There's another San Diego Freeway sign.
Oh, yeah.
There's another one, yep.
Yeah.
Although, of course, we should stress, of course, that when you listen to traffic reports on KNX radio, they only ever refer to these highways by their route numbers.
The 405, the 5, the 110, the
101.
Yep.
Yeah, I taught my wife what US 99 was.
All right.
She kept saying the 99. I'm like, no, it's US 99. Stop it.
Last time I checked, the 99 was a restaurant chain out near Boston.
That too.
Yep.
Like, it's not even calling it California 99. It's like, nope, we're going to call it the correct thing.
Yep. You got to draw the line.
Depends on what part of California you're from.
Fresno.
Yeah. But if we were up in the Bay Area, they would not even put the on it.
Yeah, no, that's true. The slang is different in the Bay Area.
Definitely. You just do 80, 99, 805.
Yeah, 580.
Whatever.
Yeah.
580.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I do remember that now that I'm thinking about it. Like on KCBS, they'll just call it like 580. They'll call it 880. But in Los Angeles on KNX, they'll call it the 101, the 405, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the SoCal slang up here in Fresno for the most part.
Yeah. So I managed to, about a year and a half ago, I passed through Fresno on 99. But of course, I didn't really get to do much other than that. I Did stop in Kingsburg. I think it's Kingsburg, which has a bunch of old Swedish buildings or artifacts or what have you. That was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a nice little city, and they got the depot downtown from the Southern Pacific Railroad, and they still got Golden State Boulevard out there, which is the old Surface Expressway. I think he took a picture of that really weird CA-63 shield in Visalia, if I remember right.
I did, yeah. We stopped at Costco to get gas. I probably would have actually went somewhere else if I didn't realize how long of a line it would be.
Yeah, that is busy Costco.
No, it was Saturday Eve.
Yeah.
Saturday Eve afternoon.
Yeah, they built one in Hanford not too long ago, and that is the Costco to go to. It's never busy over there.
Wish you had a Costco here.
Yeah, there's one in Syracuse. I think that's the closest one.
Springfield,
Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Madison.
Yeah, there's out around where I grew up on Long Island, there was a Costco, but actually opened up as a Price Club years ago. And then they merged into Costco sometime around the early '90s or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the closest ones to me are West Madison and looks like Davenport.
Yeah.
There's nay a Costco in Des Moines, it looks like.
Hey, Doug, do they still got
one.
Stu Leonard's out there?
Stu Leonard's, they got one in Yonkers.
Stu Leonard's.
Stu Leonard's is an experience.
That is.
It's an interesting store. So, it's designed like a maze, so you have to actually walk through everything. And then, but it was interesting. There's one Danbury.
Yeah, that's the one I used to go to. Was Danbury.
Yeah, Danbury, Norwalk, Yonkers. There's one on Long Island now. I went there a couple years ago when I was visiting my sister and my nephews.
Where's the one on Long Island?
Farmingdale.
Oh, okay. But yeah, California definitely uses the word freeway, not expressway. There are parts of the country where, up in the Northeast and up in Chicago, where you'll see the word expressway used to denote limited access highway, but California is definitely one of those areas that uses the word freeway.
Freeway.
Yeah.
So,
and they actually put freeway on it, which is, I think, okay. No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've traveled to too many places because even though I've lived in different parts of New York State all my life, I refer to as a freeway instead of an expressway without even thinking.
Yeah. But,
there's a difference between the actual freeways and expressways in California. So, an expressway could be anything that has some division between roadside businesses and stuff like that, but it's a surface highway. And it definitely doesn't need to be necessarily a 4-lane divided road either. There's a lot of 2-lane roads that are considered to be 2-lane expressways out here.
12?
Yeah, I think there is a segment of 12. Were you talking about the Delta area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could pass as an expressway, yeah. Even though it's 2-lane.
Yeah, 37, 41 south of Fresno, that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think CA-62 east of 29 Palms, they consider to be a 2-lane expressway.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as limited access highways are concerned, if you're in the Los Angeles area, you call them freeways.
The freeway.
Yep. We passed the 710 freeway a few minutes ago, or a couple minutes ago.
Did you notice?
That's one of the 2 interstates that heads down to Long Beach, and we'll be coming up on the next one here in a few miles.
The 110.
Yeah, so we're now, for those of you who are wondering where we are, we're now more or less due north of Long Beach.
Yeah, we're in apparently Carson, California right now, which is where the Chargers play.
All 7
Oh.
fans of the
Yeah.
Los Angeles Chargers
Yes.
All
live
7 other fans.
There are more people in this live chat than there are Chargers fans.
Yeah.
here. Yeah, we have 37 people in the chat. I'm guaranteeing you there are not 37 Los Angeles Chargers fans.
They did a better job with their uniform redesign than the Rams, though.
Oh. Yeah, do we want to take a sec to talk about
The
NFL
IKEA
uniforms?
Rams, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, what was the deal with... I know that Eric Dickerson has been very vocal in his objection to what the Rams have been doing. But, yeah, I saw the new Rams logos. Or not necessarily the logo, but the new jersey that came out this week. And
Yeah.
it reminded me of something that I used
It's
to
an
do
IKEA shirt.
in Madden 2002 with Create a Team.
Yeah.
And you could like pick the fonts and pick the colors and all that. It's like somebody went on Madden 2002 and designed the new Rams jerseys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Yeah, whereas, although apparently they used one of the, top-of-the-line graphic design companies, and... Yeah, about that. About that.
Yeah, that one.
But,
I just had a look.
well, yeah,
They're
the Chargers, the Chargers, they did a redesign as well, but it was, it didn't go too far off brand.
Yeah, I thought the Chargers one made more sense
Yeah,
for the context.
yeah. Well, although they have the jersey numbers on the helmets now too, which is a real throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah, very throwback. It's like college.
Yeah.
Like
different
Alabama.
though.
Yeah.
Funny thing
Now, if
about
they
the
can-
Chargers, everyone forgets, is they actually were from LA originally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were one of only 3 pro teams in the United States in the 4 major sports that played their initial season in one particular market and then left after 1 year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know of
learned
one
that
that's
on
in
the,
Wisconsin. Used to be the Seattle Pilots.
yeah, I was gonna say I learned that fact while watching the SB Nation series on the Seattle Mariners, because you had the Seattle Pilots who left after 1 year in baseball, and interestingly, the only other example in baseball also included a team called the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
Who were founded and then left Milwaukee after 1 year and are now currently sitting in Baltimore.
Well, did you know that the San Francisco Giants trace their heritage to Troy, New York?
Oh, they used to be the Troilets?
Kinda. Well, what happened is back in like 1883. There was a couple of National League teams. There was one in Troy, and then there was one out in Worcester, Mass. And the team in Troy was called the Haymakers, and then they decided their baseball really can't have Major League Baseball in a place that doesn't have the population to support us. So basically, the New York, the team that became the New York Giants, took they took the Troy franchise, and they named the team the Giants because the ball players from Troy were tall.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And
where you get the name Giants from the tall Troy Haymakers players.
Wow. So whenever I watch San Francisco Giants games in the future, I can just call them the Troilets.
Yeah.
Yep, you could if you wanted.
Wow. Yeah, I might start doing that.
There is a monument to the Troy Haymakers, and there's a small monument to them in Lansingburg, which is part of Troy.
Maybe that'll be a stop if we do an online road meetup that way.
Yeah, well, hopefully one day we'll do it, and what I'll do is I'll actually post the link to the post I wrote about that monument.
That's interesting. I never knew that there was any kind of professional baseball presence up that way, but
Oh, yes.
that's interesting.
unfortunately, people marked the they tagged the monument when I was there, so I had a little Photoshop here and there. And then there was a bunch of Major League Baseball players for them. There was also it was Tinker. I want to say Tinker of Tinker, Evers, and Chance. Maybe it was Evers. Chance.
It's Evers that was here.
Yes, yes, Evers. From like Tinker to Evers to Chance. He was actually from Troy.
Troylet.
That's a good one. I had never heard that before up until this week.
Yeah.
Troylet?
Yeah. There's Troylet, there's Smallbany, there's Skanknectity.
Alright, well that one, yeah, the Schenectady one makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a shickle, so...
So here's an interesting one. We're coming up on CA 107, which is one of the few actual child state routes that ever existed in California. There's some obvious ones like, CA 371 and CA 330. The corridor from here with I-405 was originally part of CA 7, the first one. So originally, CA 7 ended at CA 3, which is now CA 1 around Torrance. That became US 101A for a long time. So at some point, CA 7 was realigned, and its previous route towards CA 3 became CA 107. So oddly, CA 107 survived while its parent got recycled twice.
So it kind of became the I-2 to 38 of California route systems.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Or the US 163.
Yeah, but CA7, that's an interesting story with that highway, just the scale of it. Most of it is pretty notable highway today. You got CA14, which was US 6, and it went all the way up to the Oregon border in two segments, which ended up being taken over by US 395.
Yeah.
US 6, the Sierra Highway.
US 6 is only about 20 miles from my house right now. But of course it's about 3,000 miles east of here.
Yeah, let's stop it in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I did make more than my fair share of stops there the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, they built a In-N-Out near where my mom lives up in Oregon. They opened it up in December. Unfortunately, last time I was up there was in November. So next time I get to go to Oregon, I'll be able to easily go to In-N-Out.
So that's why you want to go out to Oregon this summer.
Well, yeah. Well, I want to go out there. I enjoy it out there. It's
Yeah.
It's kind of like New York, but it's kind of like upstate New York. I compare it a lot to rural Virginia. Just like during the summer, it's a lot less humid though.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen.
Yeah, I can see